The Practice Protocol with Paul Conant.
Welcome to week 3, lesson 4. It's the last lesson of the third week. We hope all this has been beneficial to you, especially writing down your goals, getting to understand your goals, and really getting some things in line to where you want to do it. And we're going to talk on the, make sure you jump on the calls, because we're going to give you ideas too of what you want to do, like, having a whiteboard listed with these things out, putting them out there, not so the patients or the customers could see them, but having them in the back room, having some sort of follow-up system, talking about them in meetings. Any questions you have, any ideas you need, email us or jump on the calls weekly. But let's talk about week 3, lesson 4. You've kind of basically put together your specific goals now, where you wanted to go, your big, 3 to 5 year plans. You put together, you broke them down into monthly and weekly and daily tasks. Remember, the Fortune 500, Tom, they break these down up to the minute, right? I mean, you have dashboards and everything that they're following up.
Yeah.
So, it's pretty intense how they do it. But what we're going to do is we're going to take them, and maybe Tom, you could step us through, what we want these goals to look like 3 to 5 years from now. So if you have in your binder, don't forget you have these where you could write it down in your binder. So you've got your worksheets that you could write this down. If someone is going to take, not only we work on business, but we also are working on personal and business together. What is your whole life going to look like once you achieve these goals? And that's what we're kind of going in this last lesson of the week. What does the wealth portion look like? So maybe step us through some ideas we could write in that section.
Yeah, I mean, the wealth. Remember, this is all about your business is supposed to support your lifestyle, not be your life. So these are all important. But wealth is, what would you need to retire on? Do you have an exit plan for your business? What would you need to sell it for? What kind of coverage? Now, you could have a financial planner work with you on this. It's probably a great idea to do that. But what kind of wealth do you want? What kind of, do you need college? Do you need retirement? What are you going to need for there? So we know what the end goal has to be, so you need to know in 3 to 5 years what your wealth has to look like. If you're buying a house or downsizing a house, whatever that is, what's the wealth you're going to need to get through, the rest of your life. So I think that's a great place to start.
And be as detail oriented as you can with that. The more detail you are, the more idea you have in your head of what that's going to look like, the better and more times it will come to life. You can say, I plan to, have X amount of dollars by X amount of time to retire, to grow. So more detail, the better. And again, this is all about you. So it's not as though we have any, thing we could throw in here for you. It's how is your wealth going to look like? Also, your property and home. Write some details about that.
It's specific. Yeah, like you're saying before, be specific. What kind of house? Where is it located? What color are the shutters? What kind of living room? What kind of family room? Place the order on all these.
When we'll get into this in later chapters, but in the marketing portion of it, when we start creating your avatar, we want you to be as detailed as possible as your avatar. That's your ideal client. And the reason why we do that is something magical happens when you start really putting details in. You could start, saying, I want, to be, say family of, 2 kids, they have a minivan, they have an Audi, whatever it is. You start really getting detailed of what your avatar looks like, and that's the customer you're trying to target. You start attracting that, right? And that starts coming into your office. If you say, I don't care, I just want any client or customer to come in, guess what? You get any client or customer to come in, and then you're upset with your marketing when that happens. Same thing in your goals. If you just don't want anything, I don't care. Just, open up the doors and, let the vault open. It's not going to happen. You're going to be very frustrated. You're going to be spinning your wheels, and you won't know where to target your next marketing campaign. This all has to do with the overall portion of the business. Tom, it's so important. I mean, you've probably seen this time and time again.
Yep, I think we're pretty clear. Place the order, describe it.
Yeah. So do that with your home, family, and partner. What does that look like? You have all these sections to kind of put it together and say, okay, here's what I'm looking for. Start writing these details down. I've known people to have this on in their, when it comes to personal type goals, they have them on the mirror in the bathroom. They write it on the mirror. They see it every morning. It becomes part of, if they meditate, what they're envisioning in their head. This is what you're doing, is you're building this out so that it becomes part of your life. so that when you do break it down to your, how am I going to get there now? That's where those monthly goals and those weekly priorities and the daily priorities kind of come into play. This is what we're building for. All this stuff 3 to 5 years from now. Look, it's tough, right? I mean, it's tough to think out 3 to 5. I mean, who would have thought we'd be in right now? We're in a COVID type economy. Who would have even thought that would have been, something that we had to face? But if you're better prepared for things like this, of what your goals are, it's easier to make decisions and not just push button just to make it happen.
Yep.
So, again, detail as much detail as you can on this. We get into possessions. What exactly are you going to have?
What are the fun stuff? What kind of car do you want? What kind of TV do you want? What kind of cell phone? Place the order. It's okay to put this stuff down. This is, these are the goals. This is what's, just put down, possessions. What makes you excited? You got to find out what gets you excited. And that's what we're after here.
What's going to keep you going to the next day?
Right.
What makes it fun for you? And it could be business. What's in business? What's your business going to look like? And I even tell people that when you're putting your business down, and Tom, you say this a lot too, the business isn't, we say work on, not in, right? A lot of times, how are you going to start taking yourself to pull yourself away from certain tasks in the business so that you could have other people work on them for you so that you could then manage them, right? Because that's what the ultimate goal of this whole 12-week program is how you could work smarter. It starts with goals, and then it starts getting into other areas that we kind of put together, and we'll talk about that. But it's, unless you have this vision painted in detail, it doesn't pull together.
Right.
And even what do the holidays look like? I knew when we first started our dental office, we worked 7 days a week. We were just going nuts. But then as we started getting to where we wanted to go in our life and our goals, we started saying, we're going to take 3 days here, right? We can now, right? And that's what we want to do. We're going to take a week here to work on the business. And there's all kinds of, as a CPA, Tom will tell you, there's all kinds of tax implications. If you, go to work to travel and you say, we're going to fly to this island and we're going to work on the business while we're there, and we're going to do our notes and we're going to set up. There's benefits to doing that so that you're away from the business working on it in a place you do that. So all things that are important, write the details down. When we travel, we're going to spend 2 days, maybe at a course, things like that. And then the next 3 days are going to be things we're going to just enjoy with the family. So the more details you could put down, the better. And this isn't just for, the business owners. It's also for, people that work in the business, because, everybody in the business together makes this happen. If everybody's on different pages in the business, what ends up happening is that you've got a bunch of players, running all over the place. I heard one, I think it might have been Tom Peters, who referred to, I think it was a soccer game or a basketball game. What if every player didn't have direction? They didn't know where the goal was, and they were just shooting the ball around all over the field. He goes, you would literally have it just chaos in the field. Same thing in a business, right? Total chaos if you don't have a good plan put together. So, so critical. Let's go on to community, charity, and donations. That might be very critical to what makes you want to continue doing your business. Is how do you give back to the community? Once you start making your money and doing the things you want to do, how are you going to give back? Write it down. Don't be afraid. This binder is for you. So as you write this stuff down, don't be afraid that you have to share this with anybody. Keep it for yourself. Write this stuff down. Keep it in your binder. It's your personal binder. And then, once you decide if you want to discuss it, you can discuss it. That's what the weekly calls are there for, right? Anything else you want to add to that, Tom?
No, it's just this is all important. It's not just your business. These things are important as well.
Yeah, it's what makes you tick. What makes you happy. And those are the things you want to write down. If it doesn't, then I can leave it blank, I guess. But there's got to be something in that area that you say, what, I really want to give back to the community. It has given me so much. Let me give this back. Here's how I plan to do it, and write it all down. So, and there might be something else we've missed, we haven't touched on. Paul and Tom, you guys missed this section. I really want to write down this. Write it down. Share it with us. We'll add a category for you for the next time. So it's all critical stuff. Yeah. Well, you know what, Tom? I think we beat up goals for the last 2 weeks more than anybody can. I would stress anybody go back. If they're really uncertain about goals and how to do it, go back and watch all the lessons. Be on the calls. Ask us about it. Email us. If there's anything we could do Goals are so critical. If you don't write them down, they don't happen. Tom will tell you. How critical are they?
It's so important, and it's like I said, we got to spend the most time here. This is what's going to pull you through all the activities that we're going to present to you as we go on. But this is the passion. This is a have to. Goals have to be a have to, not an idea. So I think we've taken you through it, and if you finished, I think you did a great job with it, and you're ready to go to the next level.
Absolutely. So that's it. That wraps up the week 3, lesson 4. Week 3 is over. As we get into week 4, now we're going to get into more structures of the business. We're going to get into the 7 pillars of business success, where we start breaking down everything with you. What your brand look like, what your communication in your office or business looks like, the people portion of it, hiring, leadership portion of it. What's that look like? Processes in the business. You're going to have a lot of questions about this because your office may do it really well one way, one office may not. So there may be some things you want to bring to the calls as we talk about that in the coming weeks. Sales processes, so critical. I know we're in the dental field and people don't want to, I don't want to talk about sales. We're not a sales company. We are a sales company. So it's so critical. We're going to talk about that. And then my favorite, marketing. We'll talk about how you bring the people in the door. Once we get all this right, our goals are right, our avatars are built out, we understand everything we're doing, that's when we do marketing. We don't do marketing first, because when you do it first and all this isn't done, that's when you start finding that, we're not ready for it. And we don't have people to answer the phones, and we don't have systems, and it all falls apart, and you don't want to do the marketing and you waste money. That's not what we're here for. We're here for you to make more money and do it more efficiently. Tom, anything else to wrap up the?
I think we've said it all. Any questions? They know how to find us.
Perfect. All right. Thank you very much. And we'll see you next week.
The Practice Protocol with Paul Conant.